Well, Minorcan Navy, this past week said goodbye to an old friend on the waterfront, that being the Dora F shrimp boat. And this boat was built down in St. Augustine, Florida in 1955. And from what we understand, she was the second oldest shrimp boat on the east coast of the United States. Captain Johnny Bennett, we got to spend a lot of time with Captain Johnny over the past year. But his life, our life, a lot of lives changed following Hurricane Helene when it passed through our area of coastal Georgia. This is on the Brunswick waterfront. That was a Lady Raven that sank, and the Dora F was claimed as well. Now, the Dora got separated from its mooring. It was moored just outside of the Lady Raven when it went over, and you guys can see just how far the boat drifted away before it sank. Now, Friday we watched with a lot of you from a live stream as we saw the Dora F come up. There was a lot of anticipation that the boat was going to float. They were going to salvage the boat and get it where Captain Johnny could get it back into working order. But as they got the boat up and they got the pumps on it, they realized that it just wasn't coming up. They weren't making any headway. And they discovered that with another dive, the divers found that the bottom side of it was just beyond repair. We talked to Captain Johnny on Saturday morning. The decision had been made to scrap the boat. And we watched as the boat was lifted where they could transport it over to the bank and begin the dismantling process. The realization of what we were watching here was kind of surreal, in that you knew that the boat was pretty well intact, but there was just nothing that could be done to salvage the boat. Salvage Marine in Brunswick, Georgia was in charge of getting the boat up for Captain Johnny. They had maneuvered it over into the shallow water near their facility where the process was going to take place. And this is really some of the last images we got of the boat intact. A lot of memories here. And as all this was going on and being around Captain Johnny, I couldn't help, every time I saw him, that Captain Johnny was looking at a very significant part of his life that was over. He'd been with this boat since he was 16 years old in some capacity. I know it's been a tough time for him. These images here are as the dismantling process was taking place. Recognizable from certain pieces of it, and then other parts of the boat you just you knew it was part of the boat, but it was difficult to maybe say where those pieces were coming from. And I'm not gonna kid you guys. This is a difficult video for me to put out, but this is closure for for a lot of us, and I know for a lot of you that followed along on the series that we had with the Dora F. And what we're looking at there, that's the deck section that would have been above the engine room. You can see the forward bulkhead there that was part of the engine room. Being drug up onto the bank. And it's tough to watch this, knowing that this boat is gone. The history of the boat coming out of St. Augustine, Florida, from the DESCO Marine Boat Works down there. Those folks built a lot of this, and this was boat number 533 at DESCO, built in 1955. Being cleaned out of the water as debris. Now, Captain Johnny is already talking about finding another boat. And shrimping, commercial fishing is all he's known all his life, and he's not ready to give it up yet. And I certainly admire the tenacity of him. The industry as a whole has been in a decline since the 1980s, and he is one of the few that still farms the ocean for shrimp. And the boat itself was a very visual piece of our area. Many photographs, people that would come to the beach and take a picture or video of a shrimp boat, more than likely were videoing and taking pictures of this boat. And that's because Captain Johnny worked it almost every day. The stern section and the bow section pushed off to the side, waiting for its turn to be loaded into the dump trailer. The group that was there doing the work did an outstanding job. They got the boat out, everything cleaned up. It's still tough to watch. Captain Johnny did recover the engine. We spent a lot of time here on the channel documenting that process of the removal of the old engine and installation of the new Caterpillar that was put in it. And he did salvage the engine, and the engine's gone to the mechanic to get it back running and then pickle the engine. Maybe somebody out there will have a need for an engine, and Captain Johnny will have this. But there wasn't much of the boat that was salvaged beyond the engine and the clutch. They did get the propeller off the boat. It took a little bit of work to do that, but they did get that off the shaft. So he worked on salvaging what he could. You can see him down right. They were in the process of working on that propeller. Get it off the shaft there. Captain Johnny's with the hammer. Working on freeing that propeller. The propeller didn't want to come off the shaft. Right after we got making these drone shots here, we went over to the facility and got some closer shots and talked a little bit with Captain Johnny. This was a very expensive operation for him to get this done, for the divers and for the recovery of the boat and the demolition of it. He's in the process of trying to find another boat. There is a GoFundMe that's set up for Captain Johnny. We're going to put, you guys saw the link at the start, and we're going to put it up here at the end of the video as well. I know there's a lot going on in the world, but if you're so inclined and can do it, he could certainly use some help. There's no doubt about it. A lot of work went into installing this engine. Had to be a tough time for Captain Johnny to just kind of sit back and watch what had been his livelihood crushed up. A few still images here I've shared with you guys before, but I just wanted to put these back up. The Dora F, as it was leaving St. Augustine, Florida, up the Sebastian River, as a brand new shrimp boat. And an image of the Dora F when Captain Johnny was in the process of rebuilding the boat. We got some pictures here of the festival, the blessing of the fleet. Some older photos of the boat. And then a photo not too long ago. It's been a tough week for Captain Johnny for sure. You guys keep him in your thoughts. As always, we'll say, hey, you guys be safe out there.